Well, we know that our black girls are looked at not as young women or children, that they're really looked at as, the perception is that they're adults, body-wise, thought processes-wise. And so that impacts our girls with the thought that they can't even be young girls. They can't even be children. And so how is that then when they come and they voice their opinion? Again, it goes back to, we can't use our voice because our voice doesn't matter. Our voice is too loud. We're too aggressive. You know, when we ask a question back to an adult, then the perception is you are being disrespectful. And so all of those things are impacting our young girls when they show up in school.
I think the experience that a lot of teachers are missing out with these girls is they're not realizing that these girls are bringing themselves to the class, and that's their whole self, and being able to find the good parts and really allowing that to bloom. I think sometimes it gets really, really challenging, and you know, teachers have a lot on their plates, and that's understandable, and so you may just see this student for, you know, their behavioral problems, instead of identifying something that's, you know, that's good, and figuring out how to like really bring that out, or at least even just letting them know that you see that it's there. And so I think when that happens, they don't really get to fully experience the student and to really like build and connect with him.
Black women carry a lot of weight, but not only do black women carry a lot of weight, black girls carry a lot of weight. And so we're, you know, the way that black girls are seen as adults, the way that the expectations are for them from their community, from their home, from their schools. And oftentimes joy seems like over there. It seems as if I take care of all this responsibility and if I'm accountable, I'll experience joy. But it's not a natural part of what our experience is.
It's not really about having representation of yourself and seeing you know, other black women who are invested in you. That's one piece of it, but it's also the piece of people leading with dignity, equity, and compassion, because those are the core of what makes you know, black girls and black women feel like their existence is a threat to other people. And it's because people don't treat us with dignity, they don't treat us with compassion, and they definitely are not leading with equity.
I feel like it scares them because they're like, what if that is me, or what if that does happen to me? Like, it's a possibility that it could. I know of people who are homeless, live out of their cars, or actually live in like the encampments and stuff, but they still go to work, they still have jobs, and they're still trying to figure stuff out, but they can't afford to actually live somewhere.
The message is clear that society really doesn't care, and that's something, a hard pill to swallow. It just basically tells them that they really have to work hard to not become part of their environment. No one's paying attention to the black girl right now. Everything is about the African American male. In every statistic, you can look at the district things, and everything is about helping the African American male, and the girl was lost in that. And AAFE program helps us be heard and known and seen.
Does not mean that we're in competition with our black men and our black boys. I think that that people assume there has to be an either or. There doesn't, because I'm here to support our black men and our black boys too. But I also just want to let the girls know that they're not by themselves, they're not alone. They don't have to be put on the back burner, that we are going to value them and lift them up in spaces and places because they are important to us.
The story is the narrative, is the design of who the Black woman is and who she's not. So in society, if we could think of like Stacey Abrams, we could think of Kamala Harris, we could think of Maxine Waters, right now currently in the news, that the way that people see them and the many things that we have to hold. Even if we say, I'm not supposed to hold that, there's something inside a Black woman where we feel accountable and responsible to ensuring that our community and our people are free.
That it really takes a village to instill these really important values into us and to really pour into us, and the institution itself cannot do that on its own. That it's going to take them to think out of the box on what student support really looks like.
I think what's big in our culture is that we have ritual, and and these are things that we rely on to kind of really ground ourselves. So we do rituals with the students, and it's also something that I think teachers need too. So all of our classes, they have some sort of greeting. We found that our younger students really enjoy doing the handshake. Some of our older students are a little bit too cool, so they have their other ways of greetings. But then they all have to do their values, and they set their values at the very beginning of the year. They agree on those values. They come in, they write those down, and then we all, including the teachers, we read them out loud. And it is the expectation that the values are not just for the students, but it's also for us, the adults, the teachers. They do their role. We have certain words that we use, so you hear us calling out, Ashe, and or Amen, it's like, I go, Amen, and they get that, so they know what some of the terms are and what it means when you hear that, so if you hear me saying, I go, that means it's time to quiet down and pay attention, and then one of the things that we also do is we end every class in circle. And that circle is really just a time for us to close out. We either do an appreciation or a word of gratitude, or we acknowledge something that we've done or lift up something someone else has done. And then I always like to tell them, as corny as it is, but I don't care. When the class is over, have a good day, and that I love you. Because I don't know how often that's something that they hear, and most of them probably don't even hear it as they're leaving out. But again, I'm like, whatever, you're going to get these words of love.
So AAFE does provide a space for healing. There's healing circles, and everything that we do, we make sure, because we know our kids are traumatized so much, and those traumas will arise, that we always have someone who could help those students work through those traumas that they're experiencing.
I would say for AAFE in particular, it really sends this message that we are invested not only in Black students but Black girls, which is really important. This is the first place that I've lived where I've seen a program specifically for Black girls. They usually, there are programs centered around the Black male experience in school districts. So to really see this, for me, it sends the message that OUSD and whoever's supporting this through philanthropy or what have you is really invested in the academic success, the social and emotional success of Black girls within Oakland and beyond.
I would just hope that it would be implemented in all of the Oakland schools, and that it would expand past Oakland. It would be going so well that go into Berkeley or San Leandro or even out of state and do that too. I wish it could be a nationwide thing and not just confined to Oakland.
I see that our young women are seeking someone to look up to. In this day and age when we have social media really kind of steering our young people, we need a solid individual or people that can say, hey, this is what we should be doing. This is how you do it. And not just speak it, but actually provide the action behind it. Show up in that kind of role. Show up and speak to what it is, how we should be doing it. And our young people, they're wanting that. They're thriving on that. Sometimes we assume because that young person is not doing that, right now, like showing up as we would want them to be right now, it doesn't mean that they haven't heard that or that the seed is not planted. It just means that we need to continue to water. And that's with talking, with showing up, with providing them with opportunities outside their community to say that this community is here to support you, but there are other things outside of this community that you need to be aware of. And so the importance of how AAFE shows up in these young people's lives by taking them to DC, by showing them opportunities with how to even interact with one another. That's really critical. And so all of that is so important in how AAFE is there for that rooting.
When you see black girls just being girls and having joy and having fun, the beauty of it is enormous. And I think for me to see the small moments in our programming at African American Female Excellence, that girls are just having fun, it's amazing. It almost brings joy to you. It brings laughter to you because then you're almost reliving your own narrative.
Our girls really need this program to survive.